welcome back to the channel. I am yours truly, and today it's going to be a bit of a special day because I'm going to do two schedule predictions for today. This one, and there's going to be another one planned for later on today for me missing out yesterday. So anyways, let's get into it. Now, Penn State last year in 2022, they went 10-2 last year. Their only losses came to Ohio State and Michigan. They pretty much got blown out by Michigan, but they kept it close with Ohio State. Was within a touchdown until late, until Sean Clifford pretty much gave the game away. Ohio State got the win, and then for the bowl game, they beat Utah in the Rose Bowl. So it's a great season for them. They went 11-2. This year, they're going to have a lot of talent coming back, including Nick Singleton and a sophomore quarterback, Drew Allar. So let's get into some Vegas odds for Penn State in 2023. As we take a look at Penn State's odds for 2023 by Vegas, the over-under win total for Penn State is at 9.5, meaning that if you think Penn State's going to go 10-2 or better, you bet the over. If you think that Penn State is going to go 9-3 or worse, you bet the under. These are just Vegas numbers. That's how they make their money. Anyways, now the national championship odds are at plus 2,500, which that will come out to 10th best odds among college football to win the national title this year. That's pretty good odds for Penn State if you're going to put some money down. With plus 2,500 means you put $100 down, you win $2,500 if Penn State wins the national title. In 2023, the Penn State Big Ten odds are plus 600. Like I said, if you put 100 down, you get 600. You win 600. That odds are third best behind Michigan and Ohio State, obviously. So they have the best odds, not named Michigan and Ohio State, to win the Big Ten this year. As we take a first look at Penn State's schedule for 2023, one thing that sticks out for me is they have not only an early bye week, but they have a bye week at the worst possible spot between Northwestern and UMass. These are like this is like a bad spot for a bye week. You want to have a bye week right before a big game, or right between a tough stretch of games, or like towards later in the season when you got more guys hurt. There's none of that with Penn State. So I don't know who shafted them or who Penn State ticked off on the Big Ten schedule committee, but they got screwed on this one. Anyways, let's pick some winners and losers. The first game on Penn State's schedule is a home game with West Virginia, and this is kind of a good start for Drew Allar in his first start against West Virginia. Even though they're a Power 5 school and they're better, or supposed to be better talent-wise than like a FCS school or a Group of 5 school, I'm not really buying into. I think West Virginia is going to be one of the worst, if not the worst team in the Big 12 this year. I'm just not buying into the defense for West Virginia or the offense. I think Neil Brown might be looking for a job by the end of the season. So Penn State gets a win over West Virginia, and then the next game on their schedule is a game with Delaware, and I think they should beat Delaware by 40-50 points. The next game on Penn State's schedule is a road trip to Illinois to open Big Ten play. And this two-game stretch for Penn State is going to be a very difficult one for Drew Allar, because this is only his third start, and these are against two top-tier defenses. We'll get to Iowa in a minute, but Illinois, Illinois had a top 5 defense, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. So they know how to play defense, if you get what I'm saying. I have more optimism or promise for Illinois this year than I do Iowa. And this is also a road game for Penn State. So I know Penn State is more talented across the board than Illinois on offense and defense, but you know, in college football, there's always upsets always happen. If you just if you predicted all the favorites, then nobody would watch college football. So what I'm getting at is I think Penn State is going to get upsetted by Illinois on the road for their first loss in the season, and the next game on the schedule is a home game, the whiteout game against Iowa. Iowa has a top tier defense, relies on turnovers, yada yada yada. Um, Unfortunately for Iowa, they have no offense. Like their offense is from the 1970s. This is how ancient the offense is. Kirk Ferentz, he kept his son, and they had to rework the contract where they have to score a certain amount of points per year or per game, yada yada yada. I think Penn State's going to get a win over Iowa in the whiteout game. So Penn State at this point is going to be 3-1 for the season. The next game on Penn State's schedule is a road trip to Northwestern, and I think Northwestern is probably the worst, if not one of the worst, Big Ten schools or Big Ten football programs for this year. I think Penn State win this pretty easily, and like I mentioned before, they get a bye week, and the next game after that is a game against UMass, and I think they'll win against UMass by 50 or so points. Next game on Penn State schedules road trip to Columbus to play Ohio State and Horseshoe. Penn State, they kept it close last year. If they had a competent quarterback, I think Penn State would have won that game. But anyways, we got Drew Lar and all that. The biggest strength for Penn State is the running attack, and Ohio State's weakest thing on defense is stopping the run. So if Penn State can run the ball, kill time off the clock, and put Ohio State's offense on the bench, and they just keep running the ball at Ohio State, I think Penn State can win over Ohio State and probably will win over Ohio State. Yeah, so give me a win over Ohio State on the road. And then the next game after that is a home game with Indiana. And I think Indiana, if Northwestern doesn't take the title as the worst Big Ten team, Indiana will. There's just not a lot of promise for Indiana. So give me a win over Indiana. The next game on Penn State's schedule is a road game with Maryland. And I think Maryland, outside the Big Three and the Big Ten East, I think Maryland's probably the best team in the Big Ten East, which would make them fourth overall. I still do think this is a trap game for Penn State, as they're going to probably be looking forward to Michigan if there is going to be a trap game on the schedule this year. However, I do think Penn State pulls out the win against Maryland on the road. And then the next game on the schedule is a home game with Michigan, and Michigan ran them out of the building last year, especially in the second half. The best Big Ten running back duo goes to Michigan with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, and number 2 would probably be Nick Singleton and Katron Brown, I believe. I could be wrong about the name, but anyways, I think Michigan will run them out of the building this year, and I think Penn State takes a loss to Michigan. The next game on Penn State's schedule is a home game with Rutgers, and just like Indiana, I think Rutgers is going to be one of the worst Big Ten teams this year. I think Penn State will steamroll Rutgers at home. And then the last game of the season, this is a bit of a change from normal. This game against Michigan State is actually going to be a neutral site game at Ford Field in Detroit. Why they did that? I don't know. That's probably something with NBC. But anyways, Michigan State has just been a big disappointment for last year. That's what I meant to say. After a 10-win season in 2021, didn't even make a bowl game last year. It was just a big disappointment for Michigan State, and I don't see a lot of a promise from Michigan State. I think Mel Tucker's seat's going to get red hot with this game, and I think Penn State will probably win by a couple touchdowns over Michigan State, which is going to make Mel Tucker's seat even hotter going into the offseason. So that wraps up the 2023 schedule prediction for Penn State, and a 10-2 record. So just the same as it was last year, according to my prediction. I looked at this schedule for a good 30 minutes to an hour, trying to figure out where the losses are coming from. Because it's easy to say a team's gonna go 10-2, okay, but where's the losses going to come from? I already done predicted Penn State to win over Ohio State. If you checked out the Ohio State video, so I wasn't gonna go back on my word because that would be kind of fraudulent or hypocritical of me going back to my word. So I had to pick out another team that they could lose to, and it just so happens to be Illinois. Now Penn State could easily go 11-1 or 12-0. That's their ceiling. Now the floor for Penn State is like 8-4. They could beat Illinois and lose to Ohio State, and they could lose to Illinois and Iowa and Michigan and Ohio State. Sorry, I had a bit of a brain fart. Anyways, I appreciate everybody that tunes in to the channel. It goes a long way for me to keep pushing myself to keep putting out this content. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I am planning on making another schedule prediction for another team later on today. So stay tuned for that team and that prediction. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I make barely entertaining videos. That's up to you to decide whether they're entertaining or not. As always, the support and love and this, that, the other, it goes along is appreciated by me, and it goes a long way. So, as always, thank you for watching.